Hello and welcome back to FlexSim Geek. Today, we'll continue with part 2 of our material handling with robots series. If you haven't watched part 1 yet, make sure to check it out. Alright, let's get started with the general process flow. I'll start by creating a blank process flow. First, I'll add an event trigger source and rename it to onQueueEntry. Inside the event trigger activity, I'll reference the loading location as shown in the video and set the event to onEntry. For the entering items, I'll name it block and set the operation to assign. After the source, I'll add a breathe activity. Next, I'll add a resource to the process flow and rename it to robot1, giving it a reference to the robot1 resource as shown in the video. Then, I'll add an acquire resource activity, rename it to acquire robot1, and reference the robot1 resource. In the assign label, I'll name it token.robot. After the acquire activity, I'll add a create object activity and rename it to create wafer. Here, our material for handling is the wafer, so we need to create an item that resembles an actual wafer. To do that, go to flow item base and modify the cylinder height so it looks like a wafer. Inside the create object activity, I'll set the object to cylinder. Create into token.block, and assign a label called token.wafer to the wafer. Next, I'll add a label called block with the value token.block, and another label called entry time with the value model.time, so that it captures the entry time of the object. After the create object activity, I'll add a breathe activity, followed by a load activity. Inside the load activity, I'll set task executors to token.robot and item to token.wafer. Then, I'll add an assign label activity, rename it to decrement slot label, and inside it, I'll add a label called non-processed wafer quantity. I'll set the value to decrement by -1 and assign it to token.block. Next, I'll rename all the processors to resource 1 through resource 5 as shown. After that, I'll add an unload activity, set its task executors to token.robot, item to token.wafer, and the destination to resource 1. Following this, I'll add a release resource activity and set the value to token.robot. Then, I'll add a decide activity, rename it to check unprocessed is complete, and set it to conditional decide with the condition token.block.non-processed wafer quantity equals 0. After that, I'll add a sync and connect it from the decide activity. Next, I'll add a wait for event activity, reference resource 1, and set the event to onExit. After the wait for event activity, I'll add a breathe activity and connect it back to the acquire activity, creating a loop. I'll use a split connector to manage the flow as shown. Finally, we'll add a global table for the robot move time. I'll create a global table, name it robot move time, and add 3 rows to the table. I'll name these 3 rows starting from robot 1 to robot 3. In column 1, I'll set the move time to 3 for each row. Now, in the 3D model, I need to set the labels for these 3 robots. Click on each robot, add a label, and set the name to robot with the corresponding value, as shown in the video. Next, click on the move time and select global table lookup. In the table section, refer to the robot move time table, set the row type to current.robot, and leave the column as 1. This will reference the robot move time global table and return the values for each robot. I'll repeat this process for all 3 robots. After that, I'll add labels for the resources, just like we did for the robots. There are 5 resources, so make sure to do this for each resource, as shown in the video. Also, remember to uncheck the animate item option for all 5 resources. Next, I'll create one more global table and rename it to process time. I'll add 5 rows to the table, each representing one of the 5 resources in the 3D model, and I'll add 2 columns. I'll rename the first column to min and the second one to max. Now, I'll input the values into the global table. You can follow along in the video to see how the values are assigned. After that, we'll set the processing time, just like we did for the move time for the robots, but with one slight change. Go to the 3D model. Click on a resource, and for the processing time, select statistical distribution. Then, choose uniform distribution and click on the property panel. In the minimum and maximum sections, refer to the global table we just created, just like it's shown in the video. For the rows, set it to current.resource as we've already assigned the respective labels. You can follow the video to see how the values are entered. I'll do the same for the rest of the resources. Make sure to set the time to seconds. Alright, that's it for part 2. In part 3, we'll implement the process flow for material handling and robot operation. I hope you've gained some value from this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.